Welcome to the Jones Zone, a podcast by Darryl and JJ Jones.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Jones Zone. Today, we have the Community Services Director of the city of Brea. Every city has one, at least every good city has one. And not only does the city of Brea have one, but we have one of the best ones in Carrie Hernandez. So, Carrie, thank you for coming onto the show. And we're just going to enlighten our audience on what does a community service director do. Tell us first a little bit about yourself. This particular role is relatively new to you, even though you've been working for the city of Brea forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for having me, Darryl, on your podcast. So honored to be on your podcast. But so for me, I've been at the city of Brea for 25 years, but not solely in community services. I started off in the communications and marketing department, because I went to school for marketing, right? So I was able to kind of transition it from a private sector to a public sector thing because it was like a public information office. So I have a little bit of that background. And then, within the 25 years, I was able to move into different departments. I worked in IT. I worked in also community development and in their economic development portion. So, it was definitely not your traditional path, but I will tell you, my first job out of high school was working for the city of Buena Park, and I was a senior community services leader. That was my first job, and it's kind of full circle for me now because I started off as a leader working in day camp, after school program. And then now coming as a director, it really, I've kept community services in the heart of me for a long time. It's never escaped me. I've always wanted to come back to it. And at that time in Brea, when I was working in different departments, I'd always had my eye on the department. And, working with Chris Materio, he's like, you're going to work with me someday. And so, yeah.
That was it wasn't my very first job, but that was my job along with Chris Materio.
Yes.
Back in probably 1980, we started there. In fact, it was hilarious. And we did the same thing. Just we were coaching, reffing, football fields and stuff like that, etc. But anyway, okay. So tell me more about what exactly does a community services director do?
Most people know that it's like parks and recreation, that we cover, but in Brea, it's really the parks. It's making sure that, they're safe, that we have the proper equipment and just open spaces for people to recreate, right? The recreational component too is part of our community center. It's offering our sports for youth and adults. Health and wellness, right? We have a fitness center, the community center. We've got youth programming, preschool all the way up to high school age, right? So it's all of that. And then it's also providing a community space, right, for people to come and gather, right? So we have options for people to rent facilities here in recreational facilities. Also for Brea, we're really special. We have special events. We have Brea Fest. We have Country Fair. We have like our annual tree lighting. Those are the kind of the things that, residents always can kind of look forward to, right? It brings you out of your homes, you meet your neighbors, you get to kind of gather. So our department is in charge of those really special events. And then kind of uniquely in Brea, we also have human services where we have our senior center, right? It's services for all ages, from youth all the way to our older adults, right? It kind of crosses multiple generations. And so the human services is really big in Brea with the senior center, also with our resource center. I'm not sure a lot of people know about a resource center. We have very few in the county, but we mimic a lot of the services that the County of Orange offers in terms of Medi-Cal, getting general relief, making appointments for, certain services that you can qualify for. We help bridge that gap, and we have that here in Brea. So that's kind of like our human services component. And then finally, it's our cultural arts. It's our gallery, it's our theater, it's our art in public places program, that type of thing, that when people that visioned Brea many over 100 years ago, they visioned that the cultural arts would be kind of like a highlight here, but very unique, right? People could identify this is Brea because we have arts here. So so that's everything, Darryl. That's a long explanation of everything, but I really want to get across that it's very different and unique in Brea because we cover a lot. from all generations of services, and really quality of life. That's what we do.
I'm no expert in community services, parks and recreation by any means. However, it seems as though Brea has the most robust and the most. We've got more beautiful parks in the community center, which is so nice. And I mean, it's got to be one of the better ones. Obviously, we're probably both biased towards it, but
right.
What are your biggest challenges as being the director of community services?
So I think personally for me, it's filling really big shoes of my director, which was Chris Materio. He just devoted his life to this city. He grew up here, born, raised, served. It's just filling his shoes, and it's been a great ride to actually work alongside with Chris probably for the last 15 years. And so learning from him, making sure that I understand the legacy that he left, and because I'm so bought into it, and I love this. I love serving Brea. I love enhancing the quality of life, being involved every step of the way for our residents and for the people that come here to work, right, to the city, go to school in the city. So that to me, it's been he just was so much of a really big impact believer in Brea, and I just want to continue that. And my challenge is I want to continue that legacy. It's just that I want to do it in Carrie's way, in my way, which, like I said, working alongside him, I learned so much. So I'm just really looking forward to putting kind of my stamp on things, because I was trained really, really well and learned a lot from a good person. So I just know for me, it's been a big challenge, but I'm up for it.
Okay. You got the job already, right? Anyway,
it is, but you have to understand, Darryl, I work, community services is huge. We have over 100 probably employees that majority are part-time, but I have to convey that too. So many people worked under him for so long, right? Over 40 years. So I just want to make sure that I continue that,
What do you think would surprise people about what your job involves? I mean, what do you do besides just overseeing the parks and the things that you've mentioned before? Because you've got a lot of roles. Don't you have a lot of hats you have to wear?
Yeah, I do. But I think people would be surprised, because there's a lot of internal things that happen, right? We have to meet with the city council, right, and understand their goals and objectives, right, as it relates to the city. We're a full service city, Darryl, right? We've got our police department, our fire department, we have public works, community services is right in there too, right? So it's about balancing all that stuff. And
on that note, I was surprised, and forgive me for interrupting real quickly, because I want the audience to realize your position. I didn't realize this until it was brought to my attention that you have, for example, the chief of police, the fire chief,
yes,
the director of community services. I
Mhm.
mean, you hear fire chief of police and fire chief; those are like big deals. You're a big deal, director of community services. You're one of the most important parts of the city of Brea and how it's ran. So
Right.
I don't know. I just felt it was important to acknowledge that, to kind of state that, so people realize that this is a big, big job. So forgive me, I interrupted my own question. If you want to continue.
No, it is a big role, and the more that we can talk about it, like being with those types of positions and knowing that they're here in the city, like that I can literally walk down the hall, Darryl, and talk to the chief of police about something, right? But so much of what community services does integrates so much in what the health of the community is, right? And so what we do is so important for everyday life with all generations of residents. The services and programs we offer, integrate so much well with the whole community. I think people will be surprised that we have to, we listen to our city council. We also have a commission, a Parks, Recreation, and Human Services Commission. We have a Cultural Arts Commission. These are volunteers in the community that raise their hand and say, hey, I want to hear about things going on. I would love to give my input, about and feedback about community services. And so they're council appointed positions. So you talk about being active in your community. You can reap the services and programs, but then you can also volunteer and say, hey, I want to be a part of it. I want to learn about it. So I think that's what's really cool. And while us staff think one way, we have to also, balance that with what the vision for the council, like what their big objectives are. Are we accomplishing their goals? And also to what our commission, is also seeking. Because in those situations, in a council meeting or in a commission meeting, we have public input, right? Public has an opportunity to come and tell us what's going on, what's going right, what's going wrong, that type of thing. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting because I think people, there is a platform and there is a way for public input, about things. And so we like to hear a lot of I know people will say a lot of the things that they're concerned about, but also we get the kudos too about a good job that we're doing, which is always feels great.
About parks, I'm just thinking to myself right now, how many parks are there in Brea?
Well, when I kind of looked at it, we have about 19 kind of, can you believe that in our size of city, about 19 public spaces or parks, but I mean, that's inclusive of kind of a small and a large dog park, right? Very different kind of a park.
We have one dog park, which I'm guessing that most cities don't have, or is that somewhat unique?
It's unique, but they've definitely, I think, through the years have come up because of public input, wanting to have, with housing and everything becoming more smaller, we need recreational spaces, right? For people to get out and go with their dogs. So, and
that dog park's located off Santa Fe and Valencia, if I remember correctly. But
right,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
In the Blackstone community. So we have one dog park, but it's a large and then a small, right? We kind of really maximize the use of having different amenities for the dog owners and stuff like that. But we have a dog parks. I also consider parks or recreational spaces is our golf courses, right? We've got Brea Creek, kind of located in our South Brea neighborhood. And then we have Birch Hills Golf Course, right? Which is on Birch Street and kind of Kramer, right? So though I account for the parks, I also think of just public kind of recreational spaces, amenities, right, that we offer alongside just your traditional park. And then, I mean, we even have 3 county parks, believe it or not.
I was going to ask you, what's the difference of the types of parks? Because for example, I know Craig Park, which is enormous. I was told years and years ago that the Ted Craig, I think, was the gentleman that donated that land, and he put into the donation, I'm going to mess this up, but I'm no attorney, but words to the effect that in order for him to donate it, it must always remain a park. But anyway, I guess that's irrelevant. Tell us the different types of parks that you have. You just mentioned a county park, I think, and then what other types of parks are there? So
we've got the county parks. We've got Craig, like you mentioned, right? That kind of borders Brea with Fullerton, right? We've Tri-City for a while that bordered 3 cities. Thus the word tri. It was Placentia, Brea, and also a little portion, I think, of Fullerton. And then we also have the Carbon Canyon Regional Park, right? That's on the east side of town. So
that's a beautiful park.
And that's a beautiful park.
Haven't gone there. That's the one with the lake and the redwood trees or the trees.
Redwood trees. Yes. I mean, you think you're completely somewhere else, but you can go to a Carbon Canyon Park and experience redwoods. I mean, that's such a peaceful way. And you're thinking like, are we still in Brea? Like, it's really cool. So
I was hiking there and a few years ago, and I just smell the ambiance of the redwoods and everything. I just thought to myself, oh my goodness. It reminded me, we used to go to Yosemite all the time. And it reminded me so much of Yosemite. I told my family, I came back, I said, we've got to plan a trip to Yosemite. I had just for some reason forgotten it. But I'll tell you, if you guys have not been to that park, again, what's the name? Carbon Canyon Regional Park.
Regional Park, yes. And that's run by the county. But like I said, when you ask about how many park spaces, I try to really categorize them as 19 of like really parks / public, recreational, elements that we have. It's very unique. But like your traditional park will have like a playground, we'll have, picnic benches, open spaces, so people can pass around a football or play, mini soccer. With the family, basketball courts, all that stuff. But we have a different types of parks that even not just they're also located in private development too. So that's a little unique too.
I'm reminded of Tomlinson Park,
which
is most people think that that's part of the housing tract. But it's actually a city park. It's what a benefit to those homeowners, by the way. So that's a nice part too. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. But Yeah, Brea's got some of the best parks.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go without mentioning the city council's big support for Air Vista Park, which is going through a massive modernization, and it's one of the biggest park projects I think in Brea's history that we're really putting forth some really good efforts, and it's in our South Brea neighborhood, right?
Does that encompass the plunge?
The plunge is different, but that's the
Okay.
location in South Brea to kind of get to have your listeners understand where we're talking about. But like St. Angela church is there. You've got Boys and Girls Club. The senior center is located in this area that's adjacent to the park. The skate park, right? That's another thing I didn't mention. Our skate park is part of our public spaces, recreational spaces. Air Vista Elementary School is right there. So just to kind of give your listeners an idea, like this Air Vista Park, which is about a 14-acre site that's really getting a modernization. We are actually under construction right now and thinking it will hopefully be done by fall of this year. And really just some big highlights right now that are going to be bringing to that park is really first all accessible, all ages, playground. That the current playground actually that was in place, we're almost doubling the size of it to accommodate multi-sensory amenities like a zip line. You would also have creative play, that type of thing. Very, very different type of a playground makeup. But really, when I say all ages, all accessible, it's even talking about ADA accessible, right? Not just around to get to the park, but even we're going to have some like swing units that will accompany ADA type of thing. So yeah.
I have a request.
What was that?
Can I have a request?
Okay.
I'm kind of half kidding. I don't expect this to happen, but when I was there, the biggest when I was there, I'm meaning in the 70s, the biggest attraction was a rocket ship. Is that rocket ship? That's not still there, is it? Do you know what I mean? It looks like, yeah.
No, it's not there anymore.
Oh.
It's gone now, but the rocket ship is actually at Lagos de Moreno Park, which is near Laurel School.
Oh.
Have you seen that?
I have not.
That's a little bit like that's one of the highest structures that we have in our parks at Lagos. But Air Vista actually will have if you're talking about height, Darryl, it'll cross your list because there's going to be a high structure that will have this slide that comes down. And I'm not sure if people don't understand like this park, the topography is very different, right? It kind of has a bowl feel, right? You would have to walk down, but then kids don't have to walk down the stairs. We're going to have slides that go down to the playground. So it's going to be really cool. And we're just super excited that our city council and our commission and the community is going to support this, but we're hoping for a really big opening at the end by fall or end of the year. Yeah.
You mentioned the one by Laurel Elementary School.
Yes.
What's it called? Lagos
de Moreno Park. Yes.
Is that pretty much your new? Well, I mean, even though that's been there forever, but what's our newest park here in Brea?
Newest park in Brea? Oh my goodness, Darryl, I don't.
Yeah, they've been there for Country Hills.
Well, no, I don't even think that. I think Olinda Ranch probably is more of the newer development than Tomlinson, right? So
what else is new at the Air Vista Park?
Yeah, so Air Vista, in addition to this massive all accessible playground that's being planned for, we heard from the community about pickleball. That's a huge in Parks and Recreation. It's a hot topic. So yeah, pickleball. We're bringing 4 pickleball courts to this area. We obviously are going to upgrade the basketball courts that were existing there, and then there's a volleyball, a sand court that's going to be renovated and just refreshed. We also will have new restrooms. Obviously, that's going to be important. The location of restrooms are important in that park. And then I'm not sure if you recall in Air Vista, there used to be kind of like an amphitheater, right? Like kind of.
Oh yeah.
It's reimagined. It's a whole new outdoor space that is going to be created. That because of the topography, it looks like a bowl. It has kind of a bowl feel, so people can sit up on the slope. It's going to lend itself to having a very nice outdoor space.
Oh my goodness!
Maybe like a concert or something, that type of thing. So
this is phenomenal. My 16-year-old daughter has taken a pickleball too, and she plays volleyball. So And she has to go play. In fact, it's funny. The other night she was going to play at this other pickleball court in her place, court in Yorba Linda. She had to wait half hour to be able to play because there's so many people there waiting to play.
Was it the one in Savvy Ranch that she went to?
No. Actually, the one, it's an outdoor one off of Lakeview, in West Yorba Linda, Lakeview, by Vista del Verde.
Okay.
Housing track. Anyway, so wow, that's going to be a big. People are going to love that.
Yeah. So pickleball definitely it has been new, and we don't have any pickleball courts right now in Brea. So definitely with the plan of this, will help, and it'll be great because it's going to be a great amenity for folks too, and especially with our senior center there. It's just there's some really good energy around there, for the park to exist. The skate park, like I said, the Boys and Girls Club, the Era Vista Elementary School. It's a great location.
And also, there's the tracks. It was funny when I was a kid growing up in Brea. Those were train tracks, hence probably the name, the tracks. It's now a trail. What is it? A 4-mile trail?
Kind of goes back to our park spaces you mentioned earlier, right? So it's a 4-mile linear park that we have. It provides it's like access to throughout Brea, right? East and west, right? It kind of
Where does it start? It starts
at Era Vista Park. You know how we were talking about Era Vista getting a very big modernization. That trail, it will be now it has been a trailhead. With the park improvements, it's going to be just more amplified, right? More defined.
Does it go under Imperial?
It goes through Imperial, but it doesn't go under. You have to cross Imperial at one point yes.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of a challenge that you have to make some crosses to kind of get through some of the points of segments we call, but it starts there and it ends in the area on the east side of town, kind of near La Floresta, the development over there.
Yeah, it goes through Birch Hills Golf Course, right?
Right.
There.
Right. And you have to, at that point in that segment, you have to cross the street there to get to the Birch Hills Golf Course, right? Off Birch. So it's a dedicated space, but like you said, you played on the tracks for many, many years ago, but we were able to acquire that land to create this amazing space. It's got a 2-way bike trail. It has a pedestrian path, which is amazing. And then along the way, we've put some restrooms, right? We know that's important for our runners and walkers and our people that take the tracks that's needed. But also, I think we've incorporated on, I believe it's not segment 1, 2, or 3, but it's our fitness stations, right? There's a point where you could stop maybe and get a little bit of a workout in this outdoor fitness station area. But yeah, definitely, when we're talking about park spaces like that's definitely a highlight because people use that trail for so many reasons and all throughout the day.
I just sold a house behind, or that backs, I guess you'd say backs that trail, and to my beautiful clients, and their parents live kind of catty corner to junior high, that track over there. And we were talking about, and they actually have a gate in their backyard that will lead to that trail. And we were talking about they have kids and their grandparents who are my age anyway. And they talked about how easy it is to get to that house because of that trail. It's just, it's boom. It's like 5-minute bicycle ride right there.
I think that's probably a selling point for, some of the prime real estate in Brea, right? That we have so many of these recreational elements that are just so close. And so the tracks just gives a way to connect. And I mean, if they live there, they can hop on the tracks and then even be in downtown at one point, right? So it's really a great amenity, I think, that so many people in Brea are taking advantage of.
Oh, I agree 100%. And it's so much safer for cyclists. I mean, sometimes riding your bicycle up and down Imperial or Birch or whatever, you got 2,000-pound hunks of metals driving by. There, you're fine. You're safe, protected.
Yeah, it's definitely been an enhancement and something we're really proud of, and continuing to take a look at different things for the tracks, right? What other types of amenities can we add down the road? And I know we looked at signage and they've added recently mile markers, that type of thing.
Stay tuned for part 2, where Darryl discusses with Carrie about the senior centers and what Brea does for our senior citizens.